Hello, I'm Dr. John Smelser, and welcome to another episode of Ahtna Myths. Last time I told you the myth of how Raven brought light into the world, the sun, the moon, and the stars, by stealing it from a chief who had them secretly hid away in giant, ornate, beautiful boxes. Well, like many other stories, in the beginning the world was dark, but in the beginning the world was a sea, an ocean, but no fresh water. And in the beginning, there were no rivers, no lakes, no streams, no ponds of fresh drinking water anywhere on earth. The only fresh water was known to be held by a man or a god creature named Ganook. And Ganook means the sitting one. He just sat. And a long time ago, Raven met up with Ganook. And they were on the sea. And they were talking. And Ganook was bragging that he was older and more powerful even than Raven. And Raven asked him, "Oh yeah, prove to me that you're older." And he said that I was alive when the liver came up, meaning like the land from the earth, coming from the top of the bottom of the sea, rising to be above the sea. He was around even back then. And Raven said, "Oh, then you are older than I am." Well, one day Raven was invited to stay in Ganook's house. And in Ganook's house was this big rectangular stone box with a heavy stone lid. And that evening, Ganook removed the lid enough to take a ladle and a drink and let him have a drink of the fresh water for Raven. Raven had never had fresh water ever. He was like, "Wow, this is so delicious. Wow, can I have more?" And Ganook said, "No, this is mine." And he put the big lid back on. And even though Raven was spending the night in Ganook's house that night, Ganook slept on top of the stone lid. That way Raven couldn't steal the water without waking him up. Well, Raven went outside and he found some dog poop. And he put the poop kind of under Ganook while he was sleeping. And then he woke him up and he said, look what you've done to yourself. You've messed yourself." And while Ganook ran outside to clean himself in the salty ocean, Raven opened that lid and he slurped as much of that fresh water as he could possibly take. And he was just about to fly out the smoke hole and escape when Ganook ran in and grabbed him around the neck. And he held him above his fire. And the fire and the smoke turned Raven black. You see, Raven in many of the stories of long ago, our stories of Yanni-Da'a, Raven is white. And in many of the myths of Alaska natives, Raven was white in the beginning, but he turned black. And this is one of the many myths in which Raven turns black. In this case, from the smoke of Ganook's fire. But finally, Ganook released Raven and he still flew away through the smoke hole. But as he flew, drops of water fell from his beak, the fresh water, and everywhere it landed, everywhere, became ponds and lakes and streams and creeks and rivers. And that is how fresh drinking water came to the world.